This is the Dodgers Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Los Angeles Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, hello and good evening. Welcome to the Locked On Dodgers Postcast on the Locked On Dodgers YouTube channel, the place to hang out when every game is done. I am Pete Fox, covering sports in LA since 2007 for ESPN LA and NBC Sports Radio. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Dodgers Postcast brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet $5. If that bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use anywhere you want during the baseball postseason, during the football season, whatever. If you're good, you can make it last for quite a while. So head over to FanDuel.com and download the app and get started. Well, they figured out a way. They pulled it out in spite of having Tanner Scott and Blake Treinen as the last two pitchers. But, we look at that and we go, do you really need to see more? I mean, those guys by themselves made this game interesting, right? It was pretty much over after ROKI SASAKI came in and was just blowing fire from his right hand. What another fantastic display of bullpen acumen from ROKI SASAKI. I don't know about you guys, but to me, he just seems really comfortable there. He came in and was on fire, throwing heat. The splitter looked devastating. I mean, Steven Nelson pointed it out, but at one point he threw a splitter that bounced and it wasn't spinning. It looked like a knuckleball on the heels of 100 miles an hour. Then one got hit into play. Kike made a fantastic play, kind of over more towards shortstop, even though he was playing third base. Then he got a strikeout on Young on a 100-mile-an-hour pitch. And then Rosarena hit the very same pitch. It was a little bit up in the zone, off the wall, just barely stayed in the ballpark. And then he struck out Cal Raleigh with just a wicked splitter. So the fact is that he looks really, really good. And it's a good feeling. And it's positive stuff from the bullpen, unlike Treinen and Tanner Scott. David Lee, both Treinen and Scott left way too much traffic. ROKI blew them away. Yeah. I'm like, I've said it a few times recently. I'd be surprised if those guys make this wild card postseason roster. At the same time, it'll be also surprising if they both don't make it. To me, I feel like he'll try to keep Tanner Scott around. I don't know. I feel like Treinen's more unreliable, but they're both, flip a coin. They're both just on the verge of blowing a lead, right? That's what you feel like anytime those guys are on the mound. Too many walks, too many hit by pitch. I mean, that ninth inning from Tanner Scott started off good, 2 outs, struck out. Who did he strike out there? And they switch it over. Hold on. I hate it when they do that. Flip it over. Bottom of the ninth. So he got Rivas to fly out. He struck out Suarez. Then he hits Garver, Raleigh with a double, and they Rodriguez with an intentional walk. So he had 2 of the 3 acronyms there. IBB, intentional base on balls, and HBP, hit by pitch. Raleigh is a fantastic hitter. Doubled to left. First pitch on a 91-mile-an-hour slider. Then he got Suarez swinging to end it. So he did get out of it. Give him a little bit of credit for that. But I just, that's fairly low leverage. I mean, it was a tight game. By all accounts, they said T-Mobile was sold out. It was somewhat meaningful to the Seattle Mariners, who, by the way, rocking the softball jerseys tonight. I don't know about you guys. I love when they have those, not just the Mariners, anybody, when they have those. I'm assuming that's the City Connect potentially or whatever. Total throwback with black pants, yellow stripe, blue jersey with the old school pitchfork M. I mean, that was the coolest. I love that. That's one of my favorite logos in the history of baseball. Obviously, the classics, Dodgers, Yankees are fantastic. Cubs is great. But as far as clever logos, Milwaukee Brewers, the M and the B that looks like a glove, number one of all time, can't be beat. I mean, it could be, but hardly a chance of beating it with a more creative logo, because it's the M and the B Milwaukee Brewers, and it looks like a baseball glove. What else could you ask for? And the pitchfork M is pretty cool as well. I don't understand the relevance of it, but anyway, loved the jerseys, loved the attire today from the Mariners. And I got nothing against the Mariners. They have been a team that has struggled for a long time. They got to the playoffs, what'd they say, 2022, 2023. They won the wild card round and then got swept by the Astros in a very close series. But prior to that, they hadn't been in the playoffs in like 25 years or something. So for this team to come in to the postseason as at least the 2 seed, there is a possibility that they could catch both the Yankees and the Jays. They're 1 game back, but I don't know how they did tonight. They could be 2 back after losing this one to the Dodgers. So there's still something on the line for them, but nothing worse than the 2 seed. So they'll have that bye through the first round, which can be good and bad. Worked out well for the Dodgers last year, but it's also been a detriment to the Dodgers that week off. So they commented that some of the Mariners were asking the Dodgers, so what'd you guys do last year? How did that all work out? It's a pretty popular story. It's been talked about quite a bit. The Dodgers did change things up and it worked for them, which, was interesting. They hung out together. They practiced a lot, but I think the biggest issue they said was that they were just together, watching the other baseball, hanging out at someone's house, which is kind of surprising. But hey, whatever works, right? I didn't care. They've tried a lot of different things and none of the other stuff worked. So the fact that it worked for them was nice to see. And obviously we know how that all turned out. So a 3-2 win for the Dodgers tonight. ROKI SASAKI with a clean inning out of the bullpen. The 6th inning went well for the Dodgers. Conforto walks, Teo singles to right. Nice job hitting there. Hit the ball where it's pitched, which is sometimes not Teo's MO, right? He is more of a over the middle, I'm going to try to pull it. He is not that guy that is always, but he is better without a doubt when it's back up the middle, second short over the pitcher's head. That's his sweet spot for sure. But that was just a little bit different approach from Teo, taking that ball in the outside half and poking it past the second baseman into right field. But it was a nice piece of hitting, and I hope he can keep that going. 2-seam fastball. And then that scored Conforto his first RBI since Rushing hit a 2-seam fastball to right to knock in Conforto. His first RBI since August 27th, almost a month. Then Josh Naylor somewhere in there in the third, was it the third? Somewhere before that, got nailed at third base by Andy Pages, his rocket of an arm, which really kept the Mariners from tying the game at 2. And knowing what we know now, that was a very crucial run. Would have tied the game then and quite possibly wins the game for the Mariners. Don't understand that sort of brain lock right there. Why on earth would Josh Naylor, who's not fast, be running to third when you've got a sac fly and a runner on third base? If you are, then, make sure the guy that's basic baseball. Make sure the guy scores before you do that. I don't get why you would try to grab that extra base. You could also put it on third base coach for allowing it to happen. You got to be screaming at that guy, stay there, slow down, whatever. Something to that effect. So that was a tough one. But all in all, Kike had a nice night. That was nice to see. And that home run that he hit was a really just an absolute bomb. No doubter. And it is just amazing to me that Kike Hernandez always seems to heat up at this time of year. We talked about it in April and May, and here he is doing it again. He is getting hot at the right time. He started at third today as Max had the night off. So did Andy. I'm sorry. So did Freddie and Mookie. They had the night off. Got a nice little conversation with Mookie Betts. Heard about his guitar that he just started learning. It's so funny that they asked him, what songs have you learned? You know, Mookie's from Nashville, so he likes country music. He said, I learned Wagon Wheel, which is a Hootie and the Blowfish song, or not Hootie, but Darius Rucker. It's actually a cover by Darius. He made a hit out of it after some other band did it in the 60s or 70s or whatever. But anyway, the point is that that's one of the first songs I learned on guitar too. It is a very simple, fun song to play. So I'm not surprised that he learned that one. But it was cool to see those guys have the night off. It was cool to see this game just kind of as a spring training, just people getting in some work. Didn't mean anything to the Dodgers. But at the same time, the guys that were out there trying to prove themselves, you know, Rortvet and Rushing started at first. He was 2 for 4. Rortvet was 0 for, but Kike 1 for 4 with the home run, his 10th. And Conforto scored a run, got on with a walk, a couple of walks for him, I want to say, tonight. So getting on base, and of course Shohei Ohtani on for his 30th consecutive game. That is nice to see.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
From an offensive perspective, Kike Hernandez with the home run. Nice piece of hitting there. And honorable mention to Dalton Rushing, 2 for 4. And then out of the bullpen, ROKI SASAKI, 12 pitches, 2 Ks, 1 hit, but looked absolutely dominant, as did Robo. But he gave up 3 hits over 2 innings with 3 Ks. Sheehan pitched 1 inning, struck out 3, gave up a hit. So a lot of good stuff from these guys that have started but will be heading to the bullpen. So all that's positive. Will Klein, inning and 2/3, looked good. Gave up 1 walk and struck out 1. Bonda continuing to do his thing, 1 1/3. And then we had Trinen and Scott come in and wet the bed. Not, you know, it wasn't a mess or anything, but it was a little stinky. It's the Locked On Dodgers Postcast on the Locked On Dodgers YouTube channel. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Dodgers Postcast is brought to you by Rougiette. Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rougiette Go Long. That's exactly where Rougiette Go Long comes in. This isn't just another ED pill. It's a total game changer for confidence. Go Long combines 2 doctor-trusted medications in 1 dual-action formula so you can get hard and go the distance. The effects can last up to 36 hours. Holy cow. That's confidence all day, all night, and even into the next day. Ready to level up your confidence in the bedroom? Head to Rougiette.com, RUGIET.com, and use the code LOCKEDONMLB for 15% off your first order. That's Rougiette.com, RUGIET, promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Make sure to use our code so they know we sent you. Tonight's episode also brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you are ready for kickoff with this can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet $5, and if that bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. With the Major League Baseball postseason right around the corner, lots of good action going on there. And, of course, the NFL is all about wagering, right? And fantasy, of course. So, if you're not into fantasy like me and you like action, then FanDuel is where you get it. So if you're ready, download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bets. All right. Sorry. I think I hit the back button. Anyway, Dodgers with a 3-2 win number 91. Getting ready for either the Mets, potentially the Reds, or even there's an outside chance of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Of those 3, in the order I would like to see it, Mets number 1, Reds would be last, and then the Diamondbacks in at number 2, although they're gritty. The only reason I feel like I wouldn't be terribly worried is because we just beat them 2 out of 3, including an 8-0 win. So I feel like we'll be okay with either the Diamondbacks or the Mets. The Reds, you never know. Dodgers dominated them too recently. So it shouldn't be challenging at home at the Ravine to win 2 games against any one of those 3, right? So we shouldn't be worried too terribly much, especially with the starting pitching that we have lined up ready to go. Shohei reportedly will start game number 1. Yamamoto will be ready to go for number 2, I'm assuming. And then that would mean you have Tyler Glasnow and or Blake Snell for the DS ready to go, which is awesome. And then all those other guys, Robleski, Sheehan, Sasaki in the bullpen with Clayton Kershaw, ready to go. All good. So, it'd be better to finish off this series with a couple of wins, but it doesn't really matter. Winning is always better than losing for your confidence. So let's hope they win the series at a minimum. 3-2 the final today. This is interesting. Our friend Evan says the Dodgers will get swept in the wild card. Okay, Evan, you're high, but that's okay. Hey, I don't know where exactly you are, but hopefully it's legal there. Evan has been wanting to, for those of you that don't pay attention to Evan, Evan's been wanting to debate me here on the show for a long time. And I said, Evan, that's not what we do. We don't do a debate show. I don't have guests. It's just me. But YouTube's a platform where you could start your own thing. And evidently Evan has started his own thing. For those of you that are fans of Evan, hey, Pete, would you be willing to chat with me on my YouTube channel? I told him, go fire up your own YouTube channel, and he did it. So I guess I'm obligated to chat with Evan on his YouTube channel. So maybe, yeah, sure. I don't have a big problem with that. I guess, yeah, we can figure something out. I don't want to chat with you here because, again, it's not what we do. But maybe if you're like doing your own thing and you want me to be a guest on your show, sure. What the hell? Let's have some fun. So let's try to figure that out somehow. I'm not exactly sure how, but I'm sure there's a way. You could, I don't know, we'll have to figure that out. But yeah, let's talk about that. Dodgers 3-2 tonight, beat the Mariners and got some good pitching, and the hitting was okay. Wasn't great. Out hit by Seattle 8-6, and the Dodgers had 2 errors. Let's overlook that and not be too terribly worried about that either. So we'll come right back tomorrow and do it again. But I'll be able to do tomorrow because I have Trojans. Trojans are playing at 9 a.m. Pacific. It's the big noon kickoff in Illinois against the Illini. Glasnow reportedly will start tomorrow, probably go an inning, maybe 2. He'll take on Logan Gilbert, who comes in with a 6-6 record and a 3.3 ERA. He's given up 19 home runs, 30 walks, 168 Ks. Glasnow is 10 home runs, 42 walks, 103 Ks, over 87 innings with a 3.3 ERA, a 4-3 record. But again, I don't think he'll use too much effort pitching beyond maybe, like I said, I would be surprised if he goes into the second based on what we saw tonight, but maybe the second. We'll see. J-Bomb 187. Evan is a tool. OJ Conforto would be their best player behind Judge. Oh, they're arguing with Evan about about Dodger players versus Yankee players. J-Bomb says, do not do it. It's a waste of your time. That's fair, but I'm not going to do it every night. If Evan's an aspiring broadcaster, then I'm always about promoting the genre, promoting the industry, if you will. So I've mentored in one form or another many people. So if Evan needs somebody to mentor him momentarily, That's a joke. I'm not trying to belittle you, Evan. Anyway, let's wrap this up. Dodgers get the 3-2 win. All is well. 91 wins. Let's hope they can finish off with at least one more to win this series. And then they would be off Monday, right back to work on Tuesday at Dodger Stadium against, again, either the Mets, the Reds, or the Arizona Diamondbacks. We'll keep a closer look on that tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and appreciate the comments. We will talk again tomorrow. And don't forget, join me on Locked On Trojans postcast after they take on the Illini, 9 a.m. Pacific time. So we'll probably be on around 12:30, 1 o'clock, I would assume, on the Locked On USC YouTube channel. Have a good night, guys. Take care.